Okay, so I called this a terrible thought, and this is about basically why the Germans feared us in two world wars, especially in World War One. Terrible thought is a reference to Batman. I want you to be a terrible thought in the mind of your adversary. That's how you should be. When you fight, you don't shoot people. You terrify people into running away and then shoot them as they're running away. This is how Americans fight. No one will ever teach you this. This is like ancient knowledge. Americans learned to do this from Native Americans. Okay? They didn't even have guns at first. They had sticks and stones and whatever. And they would run up and fucking harpoon people while yelling and screaming and then disappear into the forest. That's terrifying. That slowed down the spread of colonialization here in America for hundreds of years. The Germans became afraid of us because in World War I, when the chips were down, some of the boys from Texas and Oklahoma and Missouri and wherever that were part native, usually, started painting their faces and singing death songs. When you start doing that at someone and then coldly look them in the eye and start using melee weapons, you are a terrifying thought in the mind of your adversary. Okay? This is why you should know this shit. Whistles and howls and whatever. Auditory warfare is huge. I'm going to do more loud noises in this. The first one was for shock value. You can imitate bears. You can imitate wolves. You can do whistles. You can do howls. And city people won't know what any of this is around them. Especially if you're in groups. If you can operate in groups of 4 to 8 men and encircle and make noises, this is how you scare people. Scaring people is how you win. So, noises that you can do that will fucking terrify people from Native American history. You know, shit like that. Just random howls and screams. You know, whatever the fuck you want to do. Anything like this in the woods will give away your position and you should be ready to move because you will take fire. Okay, in modern conflict, this is so. But in the end of the world, is that necessarily so? If ammunition is a prized commodity, this is why I do half of what I do. I think whatever fight that you're likely to encounter in the end of the world is not so much Iraq. Like, it's going to be Iraq at first, and then it's going to like devolve into some Vietnam shit, and eventually we're going to get back to sticks and stones and yelling at each other and shit like this. And it's going to get there a hell of a lot faster than people think because most people are not as well armed as you and I. So you need to know that you're going to see people doing this. You need to know that this is a thing. You need this not to scare you. You need to know that those people are just as afraid of you as you are of them, and that the only way to counter this is with violence. Violence of action is one of the only things that overcomes fear. When the chips are down and everything's falling apart around you, get mad and start fucking killing people. Blunt objects, doesn't fucking matter what it is. This is how you will survive. This is how traditionally man has survived. I would go and watch that scene in The Patriot where fucking Mel Gibson just goes ape shit on people and know that you have that within you. Know that adrenaline isn't something to be afraid of. When you feel the rush, go with it. Don't run from it. Don't be afraid of it. Use it. Let it fuel your rage and anger. Let it fuel the thing that's driving you to win. This is how you use adrenaline. This is one of the most powerful weapons in the world, in my opinion. The only way to truly understand and know how to use adrenaline in your own body is to experience being in an adrenalized state many, many times. Most of you watching this are probably psychologically damaged in some way from being raised in shitty environments, thanks to America being what it is. I am. Many others are. This is your superpower. When adrenaline hits you, it's not going to be like it is in fucking, when James Yeager talks about it. When James Yeager talks about the adrenalized state in his videos, he's coming at it from someone who has a normal-ish mind, I guess. Either that or he doesn't know what he's talking about, because those of us that are abused are different. When adrenaline hits my body and mind, I don't go to pieces. It's not like the scientist goes away and the caveman comes out. My scientist and my caveman are one because they had to be. This is many of you listening to this. If this describes you, if you've been elbows deep in shit multiple times in your life and always came out smelling like roses, you should be prepared to help those around you, because there's going to be people that need it. The other thing I would encourage you to do is not learn an entire language, but you and the dudes that you're going to fight with, you should find a language, maybe a Native American language, something that no one is going to know, and you should start learning key words and phrases in it, especially as they relate to combat. If you and your 4 brothers can have a language that no one else on earth speaks anymore, or use Mandoa if you really want to. If you really want to go nerdy, use Klingon and Mandoa. Ain't nobody going to know that shit. And this is the thing, is that when you hear people speaking a language that isn't yours, and then now they're making animal noises and throwing spears at you and shit, and now you're receiving light machine gun fire, people are going to rethink their lives. It's my contention. The thing that wins wars isn't bullets. The thing that wins wars isn't nukes. The thing that wins wars is fear. And you can use the weapon of fear at a distance without ever even touching your enemy. In fact, most of you know one of the best ways to do this. Most of you watching this are at least pretty good shots. You pick out the leader of the column, whoever he fucking is, and you put a 7.62 NATO through his head. And that's the start of your negotiations. That is to the level that I will be conducting myself in the end of the world. If you come after me or mine, or give me reason at all to shoot you, I'm going to fucking engage you long before you can ever engage me. And I'm going to take out your leadership. And then I'm going to just watch you devolve into chaos. Like, this is the thing I think a lot of people don't realize, is that the reality of a lot of this is we're all already dead. You might as well have fun. The Democrats have basically decided that we're all going to die. They decided that several years ago, apparently. Honestly, I think a lot of this goes back to 2008 or even 2001. I would buy war paint. I would buy melee weapons, and I would find a death song and learn it. Maybe I'm just like really pessimistic right now, but like that's how I feel about them after sitting here and watching this all happen. It's like they put an exclamation point on the fact that they're dumbasses to the point that they should not get votes. If this is the result of them getting votes, then democracy is a failure. We're going to be living in a feudal society here pretty soon. I long for it. At least in a feudal society, I have a king that I can go kill. America is the, you know, home of the coward and the land of the slave or whatever. That's how I feel anymore. Every day that goes by that Joe Biden is allowed to sit in office, every day that goes by that they're allowed to fuck up the world more. Like, I don't know what's wrong with him. I think he might be senile. I think it's very clear that, like, his son pulls his puppet strings, and his son is a drug addict. So there's that. I honestly don't care anymore about that shit. It's just that shit affects what is about to happen. I've moved on. There is no America anymore to me. I'm not a citizen of this country. I'm building a perimeter fence around whatever land I buy and camping until I can build a cabin and eating canned goods until I can grow my own food. That's how fucked we are, in my opinion. When your time comes, sing your death song and die like a hero going home. That's all you can do. Thanks for watching.